As Laura mentioned, my name is Chris Johnson, Regional Director here at Atomic Jolt. And in case you aren't familiar with what we do here, I just wanted to start there and discuss, who we work with and some of our partners. Uh, we've been in education for nearly 20 years now. I myself have been in education technology for just shy of a decade and happy to work with our LMS partners and our customers to enhance the learning experience. What we found here at Atomic Jolt is that the LMS, Brightspace does about 90% of what you want it to do. But what we want to do is extend that to ensure that it meets all learners in all subject matters. And in the efforts to do so, we've built some LMS integrations that I plan on showing you today, some that I don't plan on showing you today. And then we also offer additional services, again, to ensure that your LMS works exactly as you'd like and to ensure that it meets all of your learners. So let's talk about those products and services real quickly. We offer two products that we're not going to see today: Atomic Search, which creates a search engine inside the LMS to make it easier for all learners to find learning content. And then we also offer Atomic Assessments, which enhances the assessment experience and allows you to create formative and summative assessments, and really just offers you more question types than what are currently available in Brightspace. We have solutions on custom development to ensure that your LMS integrates with the various different tools, extends it to all subject matters. But what we're going to focus on today are the three tools listed here below: Atomic Polls, Atomic Discussions, and Atomic Journals. So let's start out with Atomic Polls. I'm sure you all are familiar with polling tools. What we hear from a lot of educators is these polling solutions often take you outside the LMS. And our goal is to keep the learners in that unifying learning experience. And so with Atomic Polls, you can embed a poll anywhere that uses the Brightspace content editor. And I'm looking forward to showing you that. And then we also have Atomic Discussions, which increases the student engagement by allowing dialogue or social learning anywhere, again, that uses that Brightspace editor. So let's start with these two tools, and I'll hop right into a demonstration. All right, so in this business course, I want to first show you a learning page that probably looks very familiar with learning content you've seen in your Brightspace instance, where we cover a lot of information, but it's usually very text heavy, kind of, that sit and get approach. So what I'd like to do here is really just get some feedback on learners and determine, based on their study and based on the information presented on this page, what kind of leader do they want to report to most? So to do that, I'm going to just edit this page, and we're going to insert a poll right within this learning content. I can choose anywhere to embed this poll. In this case, I'm probably just going to throw it at the bottom of the page so they can learn about each leadership style and then come up with a response. So I'm going to select the insert stuff from the Brightspace editor, and here you'll see our Atomic Polls tool. Now, Atomic Polls allows you to add the various different question types: single response, multiple response. If I wanted the learners to rank their favorite learning or leadership style in a rank choice, I could do that. Or if I'm looking for feedback on learning content, our new Likert style question lends itself to capturing feedback in a ranking scale. This particular question probably makes most sense for a single response, so I'm going to go ahead and start there, and I'm going to edit the question. Now, the first step is to ask the question or the prompt. And again, what I'm trying to capture is determine what kind of leader would my learners want to report to most. So I'm just going to go ahead and type that in. If I wanted to add any media, I certainly could do so. But now I'm just going to give the various different results of the different leadership styles. Now, in this example, there's probably 10. You don't necessarily want to watch me copy 10 different options, so we're going to limit it here a bit. But again, this is going to allow me to quickly develop a poll on the fly and see my students' feedback. I can continue to add options. If I wanted to add 10, 12, 15 different options, I certainly could do so. But now that we've added a few, I'm going to show you these question settings. So there are a few different feedback options. I can show general feedback that just allows me to say thank you for submitting the poll, which I'll do here. I can show option feedback dependent on how they answer the question. And in this case, I'm going to ask the students to explain why this type of leader. All right, let's go ahead and save that. And let's embed this poll right within this learning content. All right, so now we have that same text within my learning page, but I've also included this poll that allows students to easily submit their responses. We'll take a look at what that looks like once students have actually engaged, but I also want to show you how you can boost that social learning even further with a discussion. So having a poll in this case isn't enough. I also want to have, some peer-to-peer interaction to talk about these different leadership styles. So again, I'm going to edit this page and we're going to include an atomic discussion now. All right. So in this case, I want my students to talk a little bit about, what is a transformational leader? Who is a good example of a transformational leader? So I'm going to just edit this page and right under transformational leader, I'm going to encourage my students to interact with each other. And this time, rather than getting their feedback through a poll, I'm going to have interaction or a discussion with atomic discussions. All right, so let's give it a quick title. And a quick prompt. Again, you don't want to watch me type. I'll copy and paste one. And now I have some options here as well. Do I want to make this anonymous, or do I want to allow students to see who's making or who's giving their feedback or their thoughts on transformational leaders? I can also highlight my teacher comments so that it differentiates itself from the students' interactions. If I want to add more social learning, I can allow threaded replies, allow students to like each other's response. And my personal favorite, if you're trying to avoid groupthink or students just agreeing with each other, you can check this box that only allows users to post, or they have to post before they can reply to others' message. And this will ensure that those are hidden until they provide their own thoughts. If I wanted to change the color theme, I can do so to match with our school colors. But I'm going to go ahead and save that and embed that, and we'll take a look at what that looks like. All right. So now, again, we have the text, but now we're allowing students to interact directly in the learning page. And at this point, we've done all of our social learning in these web pages or files, but I just want to remind you all, these tools can be embedded anywhere that the Brightspace content editor lives. So if you wanted to have a Brightspace discussion, but embed a poll, you certainly could do so. Or create an announcement that allows a poll and student feedback to appear. You could do that as well. So it really extends well beyond the web, the pages, but in this case, this is the easiest way to show all tools in the content editor. All right, so again, these don't look super engaging without student interaction. So let's just take a look at what that student experience looks like. In this case, I'm going to just quickly impersonate a student so we can get a sense of what that's like. I'm going to be, student sample here. And now we have this learning page that has the engagement. You'll see that I can reply to this comment, or I can put my own thoughts. In this case, I didn't choose the setting that they have to reply before seeing student results. So you can take a look at all of the student interactions. I can reply to Christy's comment here. I can like her post, again, allowing that social learning to flourish here. Also, once you have a lot of interaction, the last thing you want is for these pages to become unruly. So this actually compresses these discussions to only 5 comments, but if students wanted to see all their peers' interactions, they can load more and again, engage with these. Now, if ever there was any profane language or bullying, students and faculty can also report questions, and this allows the faculty to say, all right, that's inappropriate, let's get rid of that. All right. Now that you've seen atomic discussions, again, I want to show you what a poll looks like from a student interaction perspective. So let's just scroll down here. And now you'll see all 10 of the different leadership styles. And I, as a learner, can vote on who I'd like to report to most. In this case, I'm just going to say charismatic leader. All right, that's how the kids talk these days, something like that. And they can submit their response. Now, this poll has live polling turned on, and so I can see how each students are interacting, and again, read their comments if those aren't turned off for students. So what started out as a learning page that, again, was a lot of just sit and get, now is learning content that it's engaging and it's interactive and allows for that social learning by submitting feedback, sharing my thoughts, and conversating with my fellow students. I'm going to pause there. Let's see. John's asking about where the data is stored. It's really dependent on your region in the world. We have servers in Virginia, we have servers in Australia, Ireland, and coming soon we'll also have servers in Montreal. Lauren also provided a link that discusses our privacy policy. I'll also mention that we are SOC 2 certified, so we take student data and student privacy very seriously. And so if you ever were interested on how we protect that information, our SOC 2 can be made available, and you can read that in all its detail. All right. So that is atomic discussions, atomic polls. Let's also talk a little bit about atomic journals. So atomic journals is a tool that allows students to reflect on their learning. And this tool is meant more for student to teacher responses. So this isn't necessarily including the students and allowing peer reviews or anything like that. This is more of, after we've learned a new subject, let's reflect on that. And if this is an 8-week course, we want to make it easy for students to then download their journal in case they want to add it to their portfolio, include it in their career readiness folder, bring it to job interviews, or publish it on their own personal webpage. Now, traditionally in other tools, it's a bit difficult because if there's 8 different writing prompts, students will have to download each of those various different prompts and combine those into one file. Whereas Atomic Journals makes that very easy for those students to do. And it really makes it easy for faculty to write those reflective learning exercises. So let's show you Atomic Journals. All right. So now you've kind of got the idea that atomic tools can be embedded anywhere within the content. I've created a page called Leadership Style Journal Entry. Right now, it's very text heavy, but you'll notice that we also have a journal exercise that's embedded here as well. And the other option for students is the ability to download journals. So let me stop being a student for just a moment and let's walk through how you can build that and create a journal entry. All right, so again, I've created a web page called Knowing Your Leadership Style, the final journal reflection. Again, we reminded the students of the different leadership style, but we now want them to write about their reflection and how they see themselves as a leader. All right, so again, I'm going to insert stuff, and this time I'm going to select Atomic Journals, and we're going to create a quick journal prompt. If I wanted to make these a little bit more engaging, I again can embed links or images. I'm just going to quickly upload a quick image. Which one? All right, let's use that one. All right. So again, the difference here from atomic discussions versus atomic journals, and I'm noticing this, okay, it is formatting okay. Um, not so much. Get rid of some of these. Well, you get the idea. So the difference between atomic journals and atomic discussions is, again, this is for personal writing reflection, and we want to make it easy for the student to submit their reflection and download their journal at the end of the term. So let's take a look at what this experience would look like for a student. Again, I'm going to just quickly impersonate a student, and we're going to have, let's see, Parker here, submit this journal entry. All right. In this case, to make it easy, I'm just going to copy the same text and save that here. Now, the idea here is that this is the final reflection, but there have been, 3 other journal prompts. If I just take a step back in this course, you'll notice that there's a learning reflection in the leadership basics where Parker has talked about leadership styles. He can review that here. But at any time, if he's ready to say, okay, I've written my final reflection, Parker can download the journal. And the advantage, again, of doing so is it's now taking each of those journal entries and combining this into one PDF so that he can submit this to his e-portfolio, and it will show you where he's at within the progress. So it shows the prompt, his response, another prompt, and in this case, not complete yet, still has to submit some information on leadership. From a grading perspective, you can choose whether or not these are graded reflections, ungraded, and if they are graded, how that works within the gradebook. And I'll show you what that looks like here. So within this page, I can choose what kind of grading type it is, whether it's pass, fail, if I want to associate points, and how many points. I can also choose, in this case, I've chose how it interacts with the gradebook, where each activity has its own column in the gradebook, but you can also choose to say, the journal is just one column in the gradebook, and then it will sum up all of the entries for that point total. So the big advantage, again, with atomic journals is you can embed these prompts that encourage student reflection anywhere that uses the content editor and make it very easy for students to download their journal once they've completed all of the exercises or all of the prompts that you've generated. So I hope I've been able to show you how these social tools can enhance your Brightspace instance, whether it be to collect feedback on learning content or to make it very easy for you to engage with your students right there within Brightspace with discussions, create that social learning anywhere that utilizes the content editor as opposed to just utilizing Brightspace discussions, and then how you can encourage that student reflection with atomic journals and make it easy for students to collect those reflections and take them outside of Brightspace if needed. All right. John, you asked about the ability to share with other students. That's something that we've discussed and submitted as a feature idea. It's not currently on the roadmap, but we can certainly add some more priority to say, we want that peer reflection. But as of now, we see that discussions are more for that social learning. And the journals are more for student to teacher interactions. But as Nick mentioned, the other options is if ever you wanted to get that student to student interaction, you can also have them download their journals and share them as assignments, share them as group assignments within Brightspace, or create a discussion and have them add attachments. So there are ways of doing that, but there's just not one natively in the tool. But we certainly do value that feedback, and will mark someone else is interested in that capability. Any other questions I can answer about any of these three tools that we showed?